Bitcoin is the biggest bull trade of the century. That's what Wall Street is saying here on CNBC Live TV. Wall Street wants Bitcoin and is crazy about Bitcoin. And now, BlackRock is actually pulling off the unthinkable. Even Bloomberg is reporting on it. Check this out. Bloomberg. They're going absolutely wild and reporting on what BlackRock has now achieved in combination with Bitcoin. Jim Cramer is saying here that JP Morgan is going all in, who used to be Bitcoin critics. We're also seeing Vanguard, who are now the largest individual shareholders of MicroStrategy, who also used to be Bitcoin critics, or maybe even officially still are, but are secretly lining their pockets. Guys, it's just insane, even if Bitcoin corrects from time to time, even if there's a bit of volatility. The underlying trend we're seeing here, that Bitcoin is developing very, very positively, is still there. It's unstoppable. And Bitcoin will clearly make its way now, even if there will always be small setbacks in the short term. But in the long term, in the medium term, it's definitely going to go up from here. Drop a like down below for new all-time highs, for what's happening now with BlackRock, for what's happening now with Bitcoin, for what's happening now on Wall Street. And if you haven't subscribed yet, hit that subscribe button down below. Now let's take a look at all of this. We can already see ETF specialist Eric Balkun is here, who says that now, the IBIT ETF from BlackRock, the most profitable ETF here, is from BlackRock. Just take that in for a second. That's just insane. I've already reported on this a bit over the past few days. And we're also about to watch this clip, which is extremely explosive. But first, we need to take a look because there are other things happening at BlackRock too. We can see here that IBIT went on a real feeding frenzy yesterday. Today, the ETF is the third most traded ETF in the entire world, after SPY and QQQ. And normally, IBIT is ranked between 15th and 20th place. Speaking of being overweight, take a look at the leveraged. Oh right, I had something else here. In any case, this ETF from BlackRock is making more and more headlines. And what was even crazier is that Vanguard is now making a complete pivot as well. And the fact that Vanguard is now the largest shareholder of MicroStrategy is proof that God has a sense of humor. Or at least that was my reaction to all of this. Because Vanguard was a longtime Bitcoin critic, or at least they resisted it. But now they're the biggest MicroStrategy holder. And that's exactly what I've always told you. People, if they don't hold Bitcoin directly, they'll end up holding it indirectly. And even if people tell you they think Bitcoin is crap, they'll still end up buying it on the sly. Somehow, everyone wants to have a piece of Bitcoin because everyone wants to be part of Bitcoin. No one can afford not to be involved with Bitcoin anymore. And you can see that now with Vanguard as well. And now let's take a look at these highly explosive statements. Here from ETF specialist Eric Whiteshunest. By now, the BlackRock ETF is probably also the ETF here, with the highest fees worldwide. That means the best fees or the most fees that are happening right now are happening here in the IBIT, Bitcoin ETF, or we must be right on the threshold. I'm not exactly sure if we've already crossed it, or if we're just about to. I've also reported a bit about this in the past few days. That BlackRock with the IBIT ETF, even though the assets under management aren't as high as here, with VOO or the other big ones like SPY or QQQ ETF or something like that, we're nowhere near as big in terms of assets under management. But simply because the fees are so high here, BlackRock can actually make more money with this ETF than with all the other ETFs they have. And now check this out. ETF specialist Eric Balkun is live here on Bloomberg, totally sorting things out. Oh, come on, aren't you? One moment. I always have it on double speed. We need to slow it down here. Okay, normal speed. Okay, let's go.
Tantrum into a comfortably bullish state of mind here. Let's hone in on the Bitcoin and Ether for a minute here. And since the rally has been all the news today, it's throwing in the flows. I think the ETFs have been part of the rally. If you look, this is a joke. This shows the spot Bitcoin ETFs, and here's the spot Ether. So Ether's smaller, but definitely.
Do you see this here? Bitcoin compared to Ethereum. Here you can see in blue, Ethereum, very, very little volume, and Bitcoin here. Boom, to the moon, to the moon, to the moon, to the moon, to the moon. And it also shows here, probably we'll see, well, maybe. I suspect that this time, the altcoin run won't be that crazy. And here, simply, we see that Bitcoin dominance is very, very high. Or that if such an altcoin run does happen, Bitcoin's dominance will only drop for a very, very short period. And you can see that very clearly in this chart. Eric Balkun says it here as well.
It's trending up. But look at the Bitcoin ETFs. They've taken in $50 billion since they came out. So they came out in January. They had 28 because GBTC was a conversion. Now all the way up there, $155 billion in assets.
Had 28 because GBTC was a conversion. Now it's up to $155 billion in assets.
IBIT more than half. Now the 20th biggest ETF overall, 7th biggest for BlackRock, and most profitable for BlackRock. So,
did you hear that? Here, IBIT is the 20th largest ETF overall, the 7th largest ETF from IBIT, well, not from IBIT, from BlackRock. And still, it's the most profitable ETF from BlackRock, even though it's not number one, neither at BlackRock nor in the overall ranking history here. And that's just incredible. And it also shows that asset managers have even more incentive to push the price up, to push Bitcoin forward, because they make a lot of money from it. And yeah, now there are people again who say, yeah, Mark, BlackRock is really terrible and all that. Yeah, it is. That's, let's say, a pretty shady company. I don't think it's great either. But what choice do I have? Should I start crying now? I've already said that last time. Should I now? I don't know. Should I now? Yeah, should I feel bad about it? Of course, I look for the best aspects. That's what I focus on. Pumps the price up, and I'm fine with that. That's okay. I still don't think it's great. I'm just saying, hey, that's why I'm running this YouTube channel. I mean, I'm doing this YouTube channel so that BlackRock doesn't buy up all the Bitcoin before you can. That means people would rather buy a bratwurst at the grill here than buy some Bitcoin. And my mission is for you to have more Bitcoin and less or bratwurst. You can have bratwurst too, of course, but just that you don't spend all your money on bratwurst, but especially that you also get some solid exposure to Bitcoin, that you have proper Bitcoin exposure, so that BlackRock doesn't end up buying up all the Bitcoin here. And it's not just all the bratwurst fans, the bratwurst freaks, come and say, hey, BlackRock bought up all my Bitcoin because I didn't know, and I was just grilling bratwurst and playing PlayStation the whole time, and I totally forgot to buy Bitcoin here, and no one reminded me. But yes, exactly, that's why we're doing this. That's why I don't get it when someone leaves a comment like, yeah, this is all terrible and so on. And how can you even report on something like this? Blah, blah, blah. So just listen to what was said earlier.
300% return since the ETF was filed 2 years ago, Scarlett. And boom, what an explosion of growth. Yeah, that chart really...
So he's talking about an explosion here. That means we're not just seeing a price increase, we're seeing a price explosion here. 300% since the ETF started. A huge success story. But what's even crazier here is, now we have the next live TV report. Check this out, the 12 billion Zex. Jones here, blank ZX Jones, blank, who makes an unbelievable statement here. Take a look at this. Wall Street is absolutely on fire. You just can't.
B500 just a couple months ago. These are all 3.54 beta stocks. So when you're in a big bull market rally, and a lot of your backing is the Bitcoin holdings or Bitcoin infrastructure, this is the bull trade of the century right now. And this is after the halving a year or so ago. This is the bull market phase or this type of stuff.
Bull trade of the century. And that's exactly what's so crazy. I'm telling you, I was just recently in a conversation with a major investment bank. I can't give away too much information right now, but what they told me, it really knocked my socks off. They told me, hey Mark, Bitcoin is the hurdle rate, and now we have a window of just a few years. And what's happening right now is the absolute ultimate trade. An opportunity like this only comes around every few hundred years, maybe once in a lifetime for each generation. And now you can see Wall Street on live TV saying exactly the same thing. And I always thought, okay, yeah, all those bankers and all those so-called serious fiat people, they just don't get it. And they're all sitting there in their suits, chilling in their Porsche, in their Lambo, and so on. And they're missing out on all of this, or maybe they're a little bit involved, but they really don't get it at all. And now I'm sitting in meetings with investment banks, and they're saying, hey, Mark, Bitcoin is the hurdle rate. And now it's all about beating the hurdle rate. And how can we do that? Of course, that's very, very difficult. There are, of course, tactics you can use to do that to some extent. For example, treasury companies have managed to do it, but it's definitely not that easy. And they're saying, hey, Bitcoin is the hurdle rate, and this is the deal of the century, the millennium, whatever, maybe even of human history. And more people are getting it, but now it's especially the big capital that's catching on. And that's why it's important that you guys are here. Or maybe someone from big capital is here too. And I also know there are people watching here who have also millions and gazillions in Bitcoin or quintillions. I don't even know how much they have in Bitcoin. And that's exactly what's happening here in the next clip. So this is really crazy. The media, they're really going completely nuts now. Not nuts, they're going off the rails here. Check this out, please. It's Jim Cramer, the Contrarian Indicator, and he's talking here about Jamie Dimon from JP Morgan, who have also been extremely critical of Bitcoin. Tension. And this is also one of the statements of the year.
This comes as Capitol Hill lawmakers are set to begin a week of deliberations today, Jim, on a series of crypto-related bills. They're calling it Crypto Week.
Yeah, well, look, I think there are a lot of people who are thinking of doing something yet Tom Lee on recently.
So, first of all, it's about Crypto Week and blah, blah, blah. And now it gets interesting. And Tom Lee is here, bullish on Bitcoin.
And David Faber's familiar with the structure. And there are a lot of people who are approaching other people who have name brands and saying, look, we ought to get in this business. We can go borrow money, buy Bitcoin, and
Now here, many companies want to get into the market here, want to borrow money, want to start Bitcoin treasury companies here, want to leverage the whole thing because they say, okay, the normal returns aren't enough. We want to have some leverage here. And all of this is...
people are actually using Ethereum to buy things. But I think there's a whole other world out there right now. And like Jamie Dimon today about private equity, he criticized I mean, I don't know. You know, there are these sites, the site that talks about what events are going to occur. I'd like to go. I'd like to be the bookie on why he does a lot of crypto. He'll go all in crypto. Maybe he does it in the conference call. But I think
That would be a true 180.
yeah. Well, I think that's why you got to check the sites.
Well, man, oh man. He says here you have to check the sides, which side of history you're on, whether you're on the losing side or the winning side. And he says here, Jamie Dimon is now ready to go all in on Bitcoin with JP Morgan, one of the most relevant banks worldwide. And it's just so crazy, guys, people who used to criticize Bitcoin, who once despised it, who said it was really bad, rat poison. And who knows what else. Okay, he didn't say that, but he did say, yeah, I think, wasn't it? Jamie Dimon, who supposedly said it's an index for money laundering. I'm not sure anymore, or was that Warren Buffett, or I have no idea. Write it in the comments what Jamie Dimon actually said. In any case, he brought up some of the harshest criticisms here. And now suddenly Jamie Dimon is totally on board here. Or not, right? He's on board, but he's not fully committed yet. And Jim Cramer is saying here he should go all in on Bitcoin, he should bet everything on Bitcoin. The companies, the businesses that bet on Bitcoin will benefit massively. Those that don't, they're going to get massively wrecked here. And accordingly, it's just ultra crazy what's going on here. Guys, let me know down in the comments what you think about this. If you still want to buy Bitcoin, I'll drop a link for you below. 21 Bitcoin. Here, buy Bitcoin safely. With code Bitcoin, get up to 20% off fees when buying Bitcoin. Guys, see you then. Peace out.